अस्सलाम वालेकुम, मेरा नाम अब्दुल्ला खान, मेरे यहाँ से मुझे में कोर्स कर रहा हूँ। तो आज का हमारा टॉपिक है द साइंस बिहाइंड हैप्पीनेस, हाउ टू क्रिएट
Wa alaikum assalam,
कल्चर जॉइंट।
Abdullah. It's great to see you too. You were mentioning something about the sense behind happiness. I'm all ears.
तो मेरा आज का आपसे पहला क्वेश्चन ये है, व्हाट इज हैप्पीनेस एंड हाउ डू सक्सेस डिफाइन इट।
That's a big question to start with. To me, happiness feels less like a destination and more like a way of traveling. It's that sense of alignment where you feel okay with who you are and where you're at. But since everyone's different, I'm curious, do you define it as a feeling of peace or more like those high energy, exciting moments?
मेरा आपसे दूसरा क्वेश्चन ये है, व्हाट आर द मेन फैक्टर दैट contribute to long term happiness।
I think the biggest drivers are things like deep connection with other people and having a sense of purpose, like feeling like you're contributing to something bigger than yourself. When you're actually helpful to others or growing in a way that feels honest, it tends to stick around much longer than just a temporary win. Do you feel like you have a clear sense of purpose right now?
तो मेरा तीसरा क्वेश्चन ये है, हाउ डज क्रिएटिविटी इफेक्ट और मेंटली बिगिन।
Gravity? That's a bit of a pivot, but I'm game. Um, are you talking about the physics of it, or are you using it as a metaphor for something pulling you down?
अब चौथा क्वेश्चन ये है, कैन हैप्पीनेस बी लर्नड और इज इट मोस्टली गिवन
I definitely
इवेंचुअली
b
बाय।
I definitely believe it can be learned. It's a lot like a muscle you can train. For me, it's about noticing the small things and choosing to focus on them, even when things are messy. Do you think you're naturally more optimistic, or do you have to work at it?
मेरा आपसे पांचवा क्वेश्चन ये है, व्हाट रोल डू पॉजिटिविटी प्ले इन हैप्पीनेस।
Positive thinking can be a huge catalyst. It shifts your perspective so you aren't just seeing the obstacles, but the possibilities too. It's not about ignoring the bad stuff, but more about trusting that you can handle it. Do you find that a positive outlook helps you get through the tougher days?
मेरा तो छठा क्वेश्चन ये है,
Take your time.
व्हाट डज फिजिक्स इन मूड एंड जो।
I'm not entirely sure I follow. Are you asking if there's a connection between physics and how our moods or sense of humor work? Or maybe how the mechanics of a joke land?
मेरा तो सातवां सवाल ये है, व्हाट इज द कनेक्ट बिटवीन एंड हैप्पीनेस।
I'm sorry to interrupt, but we're almost out of time for this call. It looks like we're hitting our limit, so I'll have to wrap up here. You can always call me back whenever you're ready to pick this up. No, it's better to go. It was great chatting with you. Bye for now.
तो मेरा आपसे आठवां क्वेश्चन ये है, हाउ
Good
डू
night.
हाउ डू और डेली हैप्पीनेस इम्पैक्ट और ओवर हैप्पीनेस।
Wait, before you go, you asked about how daily habits impact our overall happiness. I think they're the foundation. It's those tiny, repeated wins, like a good cup of coffee or a 5-minute walk that keep us steady when the big things get stressful. Do you have a specific habit that usually That's a deep way to put it. I think acts of kindness act like a shortcut to happiness because they shift the focus off our own stress and onto someone else. It's that weirdly satisfying feeling of knowing you actually made a difference in someone's day. Do you think kindness is something that comes naturally to most people, or is it more of a choice we have to make?
मेरा आपसे अगला क्वेश्चन ये है, हाउ डज स्ट्रीक इफेक्ट और हैप्पी टू जो?
Are you talking about a streak like in an app where you keep a habit going for a few days in a row? Curious if you feel like hitting those milestones makes you feel more accomplished, or if the pressure to keep the streak alive actually starts to feel like a chore.
मेरा आपसे अगला क्वेश्चन ये है, व्हाट आर सम कॉमन अबाउट हैप्पीनेस?
That's a broad question. I've heard people describe it as everything from a quiet sense of peace to a loud, exciting burst of joy. Some say it's not even a feeling, but a byproduct of living a life that feels honest to who you are. I'm curious, when you think of happiness, does it feel more like a destination you're working toward or more like those small, random moments that just happen?
मेरा आपसे अगला क्वेश्चन ये है, हाउ डज स्लीप क्वालिटी कंट्रीब्यूट टू इमोशनल वेल बीइंग?
It's a huge factor. When you're running on empty, everything feels heavier. Your patience wears thin, and those small annoyances can feel like actual disasters. Quality sleep is basically like hitting the reset button for your brain to process the day's emotions. Do you find that your mood is noticeably different on the days you actually get a full night's rest?
मेरा आपसे अगला क्वेश्चन ये है, हाउ कैन सेटिंग goal happiness?
It sounds like you're seeing a real connection there. When you start prioritizing that rest, the whole idea of happiness can start to feel a lot more reachable. Do you feel like you finally found a sleep routine that actually works for you?
मेरा आपसे अगला क्वेश्चन है, व्हाट रोल डज ओपनिंग प्ले इन जो?
Yeah, I'm sorry, I'm not quite following you there. Could you try rephrasing that? I want to make sure I'm actually on the same page as you.
मेरा आपसे अगला क्वेश्चन है, हाउ डज सोशल मीडिया इफेक्ट हैप्पीनेस एंड लाइफ सीक्रेट?
It's a double edged sword. On one hand, it can keep you connected to people you'd otherwise lose touch with. But on the other, it's so easy to fall into the trap of comparing your behind the scenes with everyone else's highlight reel. That usually ends up making us feel like we're missing out on something, even when our own lives are going great. Do you feel like social media helps you stay inspired, or does it mostly just feel like a distraction?
मेरा आपसे अगला क्वेश्चन है, हाउ कैन मनी बट हैप्पीनेस, व्हाई और व्हाई नॉट?
I'm sorry, we're actually almost out of time for this call. It looks like we're hitting our limit, so we'll have to wrap up here. You can always call me back later to talk about money and happiness. Bye for now.
मेरा आपसे अगला क्वेश्चन है, व्हाट आर सम बेसिक फॉर इंक्रीजिंग हैप्पीनेस?
I wish I could dive into that, but we're actually at the limit for this call. You can always call me back whenever you're ready to pick this up. Bye for now.
मेरा सेकंड लास्ट क्वेश्चन है, हाउ कैन पीपल मेंटली हैप्पीनेस ड्यूरिंग टाइम?
I'm really sorry, but we've actually hit the limit for this call. You can call me back whenever you're ready, and we can definitely talk about maintaining happiness during tough times. Bye for now. I'm here. I'm not entirely sure I caught that last part. Are you looking for some advice on life or maybe something more specific?
मेरा आपसे आखिरी क्वेश्चन ये है, व्हाट डेली कैन हेल्प मोर जॉय इन लाइफ?
I'm a little stuck on the word "joe" there. Do you mean joy? Because if you're looking for more joy in your daily life, that's a conversation I could definitely get behind. Are you feeling like things have been a bit too routine lately?
ओके, थैंक यू।
You're very welcome. Since we were talking about joy, do you want to dive into some ways to bring more of